One of the great things about fukusa is that they are immediately appealing. Many of the textiles that you'll see in the museum are woven geometric designs where you need to be a textile expert to appreciate the complexity and the skill of the weaving. Whereas when you just look at these fukusa, the pictures and the designs are immediately beautiful, and you don't need to know a lot about textiles to appreciate them. I am many things. This video is about me as a collector, but I'm also an accountant and a tax advisor. You could therefore say that one of my achievements is a very modest increase in the US deficit. I have used my earnings as a tax advisor to put together a collection of textiles, and now have one of the best collections of Chinese textiles in the world. Collecting becomes an addiction, and I therefore have to feed this addiction. When I buy an item, I tell people I apply the WA test. Now, WA will be understood to Cantonese speakers, and I translate it as wow. So an item has to say wah or wow to me before I buy it. I suppose I ought to be more scientific and give a more detailed explanation. The things that I look for are rarity, beauty, condition, and age. I mainly collect Chinese textiles, but I also have some Indonesian textiles, some Bhutan textiles, and of course, some Japanese textiles. In my Chinese collection, the range is from about 500 BC up to the 21st century. I think that collectors are born. It's something that you have to do. When I was a little boy, I collected plastic zoo animals. When I grew up, I started to collect Chinese and Japanese textiles. I think of collecting like hunting. You go out and look for your prey, and you come back with your trophies. The advantage being that nothing gets killed. I bought my first fukusa in 1987. I used to go into the office on Saturday mornings to catch up on my work, and would then go looking for textiles in the afternoon. On one occasion, I walked past a new gallery and saw some beautiful embroideries on the wall. There was a lady inside, and the door was ajar, but it was blocked by a bucket. As I stepped across the bucket and introduced myself, the lady told me that the gallery was not yet officially open, that I would have to wait until next week. I pleaded with her and said that I would be on holiday in England the next week. Japanese embroidery on fukusa is very textural. They use padding, and there are many different types of embroidery that they use in the fukusa, which gives it a strong three-dimensional effect. When I buy a fukusa or another textile, the fukusa quickly disappears into a drawer, because the problem with textiles is that every time you display a textile, it will fade a little. So you need to keep textiles out of the light if you want to preserve them in their original brilliance for future generations. I very much like this fukusa because it is so unusual, because it is made of applique of different pieces of cloth rather than embroidery. And it is the only applique fukusa that I have. It shows the game of Go, which is an unusual subject for a fukusa. I also find this other fukusa very interesting. It is typical of many fukusa because it is symbolic, and this fukusa symbolizes marriage. What it shows is a box containing cards. This game, being Japanese, is more difficult because they don't have two pictures the same. Instead, it is two halves of the same poem. So you have to show your literary knowledge by recognizing the poem. And since the purpose is to bring two cards together, it's very suitable for a marriage gift, which is bringing two people together. In Chinese textiles, I particularly like the Ming period, when there was very fine workmanship. In Japanese textiles, normally the Edo period, say the 18th, 19th century, produced magnificent fukusa and other textiles. And this is something completely different. Now, this is a fireman's jacket. It doesn't look very impressive, but when you open it up, you can see a magnificent design. So here you have a samurai with his lady, the people looking on. This is one of the most elaborate fireman's jackets that I have seen. And the Japanese were very modest men. They kept their best decoration hidden inside. This is very heavy cotton. Now, these would be for ceremonies, but they would also wear something similar when they went into the buildings which were on fire in order to protect them. I mean, you can see that it's nearly as thick as my finger. Now, this is an unusual robe because it's orange, and this means that it was made for the heir of the emperor. This robe was made in the late Qianlong period. Well, I think for the Wa test, the first thing is that it looks magnificent. The embroidery is very good, which is what you would expect for a court robe. The dragon robes had to have 9 dragons because 9 is an auspicious number. Here we have the 9th dragon on the inside flap. And here is the deep sea. Here are the waves at the top of the sea, and here is the land, a mountain. And here at the center of the universe is your head. My collection of Chinese textiles is probably one of the best in the world. I am a bachelor, I've never married, I have no children. So my legacy to the world will be my collection, not my genes. Collecting gives me a purpose in life, and it's fun. Oh, I will certainly continue to collect, because as I tell people, life is not worthwhile living if you can't go shopping. I mean, my love of collecting is one reason why I'm still working at 71.